Hi investigators, it's Mike Evans and Casey Pyne, back with Friday SpyCurious. How are you, Casey? I can't hear you, Casey.
Help if I myself. I'm fantastic. How are you?
Very well. You've had a busy week, I'm sure?
Yes, always.
Very good. Okay, people, we're here with episode 144 of SpyCurious, the Friday afternoon program for people who like to take statements and write reports. Casey is in beautiful Gold Coast and Queensland, and I'm coming to you live where it is like this.
And I just couldn't let go.
That's what it's like. Honestly, it's exactly like that all day, every day in beautiful Tasmania. Now, my wife Donna and I are staying in an Airbnb in Tasmania. And we've done that for the last 15 years, at least 3 times a year. Every Airbnb in Tasmania has one of these on the bookshelf. It's a novel by Max Walker, who I went to school with, and it's called How to Hypnotise Chooks. This is the first Airbnb we've ever stayed in that hasn't got that book in it. Every single one of them has. This Airbnb has an entire library of crime fiction in it. I'm not joking. There is walls and walls of private investigation books.
What on earth?
Seriously, I don't go out and buy these and bring them in. This lady reads them and has a collection on them. They're everywhere in the house. There is just walls. It's like Batman's library in Batman's secret cave. G'day, Chris. How you going, mate? Hi, Renee. Great to see you. And g'day, Jamie. How you going? We hope you all have a great weekend, people. Gee, I've got to get rid of that banner, don't I? So we're really excited about our library of books. I'm never going to have time to read them. It's just absolutely weird that we end up in a place like this for our last part of our week with drone training and bush and rural surveillance in Tasmania. So that's been a real great surprise for us. We'll never read them all. So today I'm going to do a road test of another trail cam, and here's the trail cam here. And we'll feature that road test and show you how it goes. We've got some jobs. Casey, what are you talking about today?
Today I'm talking about social media comments and how to export them easily, and a tool to help you with your OSINT.
Okay, great. Okay, I've just got to remind everybody that next Friday we've got our AirLap monthly meeting, and it's our May one. It's the first Friday of the month. And we're having an employer come on, and they're going to be talking about their new induction program that they're going to be doing in conjunction with the Australian Security Academy. Now, employers are having really great big difficulty getting investigators, licensed investigators. Now, the reason for that is we're training them and people are going out and applying for work, and they're getting snapped up very quickly. So the employers, they want to sort of like do an early intervention and meet you maybe just before you graduate, or you're 75% of the way through your course, or you just finished your course and now you're looking for work. Okay, and previously you weren't looking for work. So you're going to meet an employer who's going to talk about their induction process and their onboarding process and give that to you. Now, all investigation agencies have an onboarding process, but it is private and it's confidential and they don't share it with anyone else. But this one, next week, 1:30 p.m. on our AirLap monthly meeting, that employer is going to come on and talk about their initiatives and what they're doing. Every employer helps the investigators come on board with guidance, but this one's a more intense one. And if you're in Victoria, it's a big opportunity. Now, if you're not in Victoria, they are an Australia-wide investigation organisation and growing. So that should tell you that if you watch next week, find out who to contact and how to go about it, it can set you up in other states as well for the future. But their most immediate need is within Victoria. So keep an eye out for that coming up next week. Now, there's been some fantastic jobs this week. Okay, some really good ones have come up. This is a beauty if you've got a certificate for in government investigation. It's the Victorian Institute of Teaching. So complaints about teachers or complaints about staff in schools, that sort of thing, behaviour in schools, you're going to be investigating that. You'll need a certificate for in government investigations. This one with the National Indigenous Australian Agency in Darwin. They're after a compliance person in their fraud branch, and they're paying quite a bit of money. So if you want to see that job, people, and you want to apply for it, get it onto this Facebook page. It's the Australian Private Investigator Corporate and Government Job Vacancies page, and there you will see all the jobs I'm talking about right now. Now, that last job, yes, it was a government investigation position. Now, some of you only want private investigator. I understand that, but you know, we've got jobs for everybody here and all different levels, from beginners right through to more experienced people like that last fraud job with the Indigenous Association. Speaking of beginners, Ashdale want a trainee workplace investigator in Brisbane. They're great people, Ashdale. They've been around for 20 years or more. Okay, and they onboard people, bringing them through. It doesn't mean trainee pay less. It means we've got an opportunity. People, we're an excellent investigation agency and we want to bring you on board. So keep that in mind. Don't forget, next Friday, 1:30 p.m, okay, in Victoria, New South Wales, Queensland. That's where you'll see that AirLap annual monthly meeting, where we'll be talking about the onboarding process and new initiative from one of the investigation agencies. Surefact are looking for licensed private investigators in New South Wales and Victoria. Brookside are looking for investigators in Sydney. M&A Investigations, one of the largest investigation agencies that you've never heard of. They want licensed investigators in Cairns. Kerrigan's are seeking factual and circumstance investigators in Melbourne, which is a great opportunity. And boy, there's so many. I'll come back to the rest later on. This week, people, we were very lucky to celebrate on Tuesday the Australian Security Academy's 21st birthday. So we became 24 years old on that day, and we were very happy about it. So thanks for tuning in, watching, and being part of that success. Casey, what have you got for us?
I have a fantastic tool that will help you with certain investigations, whether you're a risk manager or a private investigator. You might be investigating bullying, or you're just doing some security checks for people, especially influencers, and it is export social media comments. So say you have a bullying and harassment case and you would like to go through the different comments on someone's social media to see if you can see the person that's been accused of bullying and harassment. This tool is fantastic if they have a heap of comments. So it's exportcomments.com, and there is a free version, but you only get up to 100 comments per day to export, which is okay if you're just doing a little, someone that doesn't get too many comments. It puts it really nicely into an Excel spreadsheet. I'm not a fan of Excel. Me doing this manually takes a lot longer than just signing up to export comments, and I'll show you an example now. So I went to an influencers page. We've got Ellie here from the Gold Coast. I put in the link for this picture into the export comments. So you can see there, you just put in the link for whatever picture you would like to get the comments of. And here are all the comments. This is what it exported. So it's got the username, the date, if anybody liked that particular comment, and it has the comment, which is fantastic. So this really helps, especially if there is a heap of comments, you need to find someone to say, okay, they comment on everything, they comment that it's a bit weird, you might need to keep an eye out for them. You can just type into Excel in the little search area, you can type in that known username and it'll bring it straight up their comment. So I really enjoy that, even if you just have like a few comments that you have to export from someone's Instagram, or I believe they do Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, TikTok. as long as it's public facing, you can get the comments from it, and it just puts it in a really nice format for you, makes it very easy, and you can go from there. So if you are, for example, in a security risk management role and you are doing basically, it's not retrospective, you're just keeping an eye on the social media of a company or an event, you can just go in there. I find that the pricing is pretty fair, and it's you can cancel at any time, so you can spend that $45 or the $11, get all those comments and go through them. You can see how many times a specific person, if you know how to use Excel, comments, and you can get all that data in a nice little format for you to have a look at. So I love that feature. It's really helpful, and it's also really good for bullying and harassment cases. And what other tool do I have here? Sorry, here we go. So I know I've spoken about this before, but it's been a long time, and I've updated my OSINT bookmarks recently, and I saw that there was a couple of new things. So this is who I did my really big open source intelligence and social media training through, which is OSINT Combine. And if you go to osintcombine.com, and in the tools section, they have a free OSINT download area. So these are the bookmarks that you add into your browser, and it shows you all of these different things, whether it's how to do Google alerts, how to, oh gosh, let me just have a look. Telegram searches, Yandex, simple email reputation searches, 4chan searches. We don't really use 4chan anymore. But a heap of different really handy OSINT bookmarks in there for you to have a look at and play around with. A heap of tools. It's so fantastic. It's a free resource. We never turn our nose up at free resources in this industry because they can be hard to come across. So definitely go to osintcombine.com and download that free resource there and have a play with the different tools. There was also one that I really enjoyed, which I haven't had a proper play around with yet, but if I can, I thought I screenshotted it. But they have an OSINT for finding people Google Sheet that they've put together, and that is in that bookmark list. And you can go through that and have a look at the different tools that they suggest. There was a couple there that I've never heard of before, and they are really great resources, again, just to have a play around with. There's new tools coming out all the time. There are fantastic people like OSINT Combine that are helping us out with collating these things and putting them out there for fellow investigators. So something you should definitely have a look at.
Fantastic, Casey. What a great tip. That's really good. Did you enjoy that tip from Casey, people? Well, all you have to do to get all Casey's collated tips that she gives us in here is write to me or Casey and say, hey, I want a copy of what Casey just spoke about. Okay. Now, last week we sent out 18 of Casey's tips, the direct link direct to them. So that means it skirted around my really funny jokes. It skirted around the times when I had the microphone off and I was talking for 20 minutes. It was skirted around when I didn't have the camera working and I thought I was talking to people. And you just go straight to Casey's tip. So that's how we've got that collated. So add that one to your list from our YouTube channel. Or if you haven't got that tip sheet yet, get in contact with me and I'll email it to you. So it's really important because Casey's tips are really, really good. Now, there are 3 interviews there as well. They're people that we've interviewed over time. That's just a little bonus, but those tips are there. Some go for 40 seconds, really handy. Some go for 5 minutes. Some go for 3 minutes like the previous one. Thanks, Casey. That's really good. I'm staying at a B&B with all these books about detectives. It's just absolutely amazing. I can't get them all off the shelf. This one is a blind eye. It looks like it's written by Andy Chambers. I told you previously, people, earlier in the year to go out and buy Andy's book, which is called The Blind Investigator. I've changed my mind. I don't want you to buy it now, so don't go out and buy Andy's book. The reason being he's from Scotland. So that's enough reason not to buy his book. Also, 36 years ago, I married my wife. Now, prior to getting married, 36 years ago, I did the appropriate background checks and all that sort of thing. And we signed our marriage certificate. And she was 24 at the time we got married. And I thought I'd done a pretty thorough check. But she told me about 2 years later, the ink wasn't even dry on the marriage certificate, that she'd been to a concert with the Bay City Rollers. That would have happened only 12 years prior to us getting married. So that is a really good reason you shouldn't buy Andy Chambers' book, because he's from Scotland and so are the Bay City Rollers. Well, don't buy it. Okay, so that's fair enough. Got a road test to run through, people. Here we go. Coming up.
So for today's road test, we're looking at the StealthCam QS18 cheap camera. Now here it is in its box. We'll just unbox it. So when are you going to need one of these? Well, your very expensive $500, $600 trail cams are all in use, or one of them's broken, or you've lent them to another investigator, and you've got an urgent job and you want to know if the $150 Camera Warehouse Stealth Cam will actually do the job for you. So this is the camera. It's $150. Is it going to be any good? Well, you open it up, you switch it on, and you've got three options. You've got option one, which is photos, option two, which is video, and you can customise it to take video and photos as well. So you can program it to do whatever you want. It's got comes complete with a set of instructions to tell you what to do. It even has a sticker to let everybody know that you've got a stealth cam. Yeah, we'll let everybody know that. So that's your stealth cam. Now the really important things with this one are you cannot just use any old SD card in there. So you can't use the SD card out of your drone. These ones, it will not work inside this little guy. So don't use those. You must get a SD card up the right way that is capable of number 10. So that card looks like this. Here we go. This is what it looks like. There's no little miniature SD card with it. Buy one of these to go with your cheap stealth cam and it'll work perfectly well. So for our road test, it's not a road test unless we show it to you in action. So I set up one last night and this is what it looked like.
Okay, so it's not a road test unless you see it. Now, during the daytime, it takes full colour video. Okay, so whatever, it's in full colour. But at night time, it only takes black and white, what you see on all those videos where arsonists burn other people's cars and all that sort of thing. So in our Airbnb in Tasmania, this is what we got on our cam last night with it for our road test. And it jumps in and it's a little tiny Tasmanian devil. Now these things are on the endangered species list and here it is running around the backyard of a house that's full of crime and murder novels. So I think it's probably looking for dead bodies to dig up and eat because they are carnivorous, right? They run around eating carrion and stuff like that. So I'm starting to get really worried about this Airbnb we're in. It's surrounded by baby Tasmanian devil who was on patrol all night. And this is a really amazing piece of film to have an endangered animal like the Tasmanian devil on our $150 stealth webcam. So yeah, I'll give it a thumbs up when all my $500 ones are in use somewhere else and they're sending through video and stuff onto my phone. But just to fill in that little gap where it's urgent, I've got to run down to the camera shop and buy two. I don't have to order them online and wait 7 days for delivery. That's a handy little camera. So Camera Warehouse, $150 for the camera. You'll have to buy that SD card, so 32 gig SD card, about $60. So, but a very handy solution for those times. So keep it in mind. Don't, just because it's cheap doesn't mean it won't work. If it's really something that you need, it'll work fine for the time that you did it. This is the SD card. It has to be a number 10. This is the actual camera, and these are the presets that work automatically. You can customize it to have 30-second videos or 40-second videos, whatever. So jump down to Camera House, pick up one for $150, and you'll have it there for when you need it. Other jobs this week. Energy and Water Ombudsman New South Wales, they want a dispute resolution officer. I was watching a program a few years ago, and they were talking about water in the future is going to be the oil of the world. It's going to be that rare commodity. Anything that has water in it and consumption of water by crops or by people or whatever, okay, it's very important that it's regulated. So, can't wait for review. Yeah, right. I'll try and do a serious pro. Thanks, Lee. I appreciate that, mate. So anything that has water in it is a really great job, people. It'll set you up for the future with experience in that. Absolutely wonderful. Auto in general, on the Sunshine Coast, they've got a senior fraud investigator vacancy. Now, next month, 20 staff at Auto in general will be studying with the Australian Security Academy. It's one of the biggest insurance companies in the world, and they have an internal training program. If they're after a fraud investigator, and your certificate for a government investigations says Australian Security Academy, do you think they're going to talk to you? Yeah, my word they are, because it's going to save them a lot of money to put you through the same course as the 20 other people that they have to pay for themselves. So well done. You've had the initiative, ride that initiative home and get that job. Singus Higgins Shaw down in Melbourne are looking for an investigation surveillance administration person. So what that means is your role with that is you'll be a licensed private investigator. You will be sending out instructions for surveillance. You'll be chasing surveillance investigators for missing photos or missing addresses or for their notes or for whatever's missing. And you'll be doing that constantly. And you'll learn which surveillance operatives are really well organised and get everything on time. And what those surveillance investigators are, they're the ones that look for the way in. Now, because you're working for Singus Higgins Shaw, that's all you're going to be dealing with, because you won't get in there if you're a mug surveillance operative. Okay, so they have quality investigators working for them doing surveillance. So this is a particularly easy job. You're not dealing with people who are making up excuses. And if you don't know what the excuses are, I made up all the excuses myself when I used to do surveillance, so you can check with me what they are and I'll send you a list. So CHS, great opportunity for those of you who look for the way in. You want to be a successful investigator in factual investigations or surveillance investigations, look for the way in. That's what you got to do. If you start sending back people a whole bunch of oh, look, there's a 32-story building in Richmond, how am I going to find a guy with Vietnamese nationality in there? They don't want to hear that. They're paying you to look for the way in and look for solutions, and other people do it, so can you. Triage officer for fraud and financial crime at HSBC Bank is a really great position. CHS, I think I've just done that. Well done, CHS. Great place to work. Victorian Ombudsman, looking for a complaints officer. Anything with ombudsman in it, they're overseers of public servants and stuff like that. So great role there. Always refer to it as the VO. Okay, if they ask you, why do you want to work here? You say, oh, I'd like to work at the VO because of the wide variety of work, and I'll be helping the government. Okay, start using the term VO because that's what they want to hear. You hear tips like that all the way through this. I should put Mike's shortcut tips for that sort of thing. Now, where am I? Done that. I have done that. Have we got anything else, Casey?
Mine went a bit quicker than I thought.
That's all right. Happy 21st birthday. I hope you didn't celebrate too hard. I think I've covered all my jobs. A reminder, AirLap's on next week. Don't miss it. That's really important, people. Do not miss that. If there's something in here you want to see again, you can watch the replay, or you can jump over to our YouTube channel and watch the replay over there of this whole thing as of yesterday. So that's important. If you need to contact me, text me your email address or ring me. I am very hard to get while I've been in Tassie with phone reception because we've been doing some training in remote areas. But there's my contact details there. If you have a query about private investigations, becoming a private investigator, that's how to get hold of me. And we'll go out in our usual way. What you have just been watching, people. Thanks for coming in, Casey. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And just like maybe a reminder for next week, if you're not an AirLap member yet, make sure you get in contact with me. I've had some fantastic people email me this week and I'm getting to that for them, the ones that I've marked up. So I'll redo them. But yeah, if you haven't emailed me yet about your AirLap membership, make sure you get onto it because next week, even I'm really looking forward to it. Anything to kind of lift the veil and help people get employed in the industry is fantastic. So make sure you drop me an email.
There's Casey's email address on your screen. Okay, so once again, you can watch the replay to see that. And Casey will only be too happy to send that out. We're going out in our usual way. You have been watching episode 144 of SpyCurious, the most up-to-date and most interesting program about private investigative weekly news because it's the only one in Australia.
작전 종료. 전원 복귀할 것.
That's how the week for private investigators ends at Surefact. It ends like that at Brookside. It ends like that at LKA. It ends like that at Singers Higgins Shaw, CHS. It ends like that at Verifact. It ends like that. No, it doesn't. That's a movie version of a great movie. It's called Cold Eyes. You really get some great investigation tips in that movie. And it has some great moments, a bit lengthy, but good fun. Thanks for dropping in, Casey. We'll go out with our library and we'll catch up with you next week.
Okay, great. Looking forward to it. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Thanks, Casey. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you 1:30 next week at AirLap.